Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. The topic I'm going to talk to you today about is the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 7. The episode is called The Beef is Served. It started off from where it left off last episode on 6, where Mia was FaceTiming Peter, and she was talking to Peter on the phone in her room with Jackie. She was talking on the phone to Peter, and Peter was telling her that asking her, did she invite Wendy? She said, yes, she invited Wendy and all the girls. He said, you invited Wendy even though you and Wendy. She said, yeah, I invited me and Wendy even though me and Wendy don't get along that good. I did it for Karen because it's Karen's birthday. He said, oh, okay. He said, I him to tell you I got beef with Wendy. He said, you got some beef with Wendy? What's the beef you got with Wendy? He said, I'm not going to tell you the beef that I got with Wendy. Let's just say that Wendy was supposed to go into the restaurant business, and she wanted me to help her out with the restaurant business. And I sent her the paperwork, and she never. I sent her the paperwork, and she never called me back and never gave me an answer. Say, she did you like that, fam? She never called you back and gave you an answer. He said, nah. And he said, she said, well, I just want to invite the girls down to board one so we can have a good time. Because remember, we always have a good time in your restaurants. You have good food too. He said, yeah, you can come on down to board one and stuff. He said, you can come on down to board one and stuff. And she said, are you going to tell me? He said, no, I'm not going to tell you what the situation with me and Wendy. She said, okay, bye. So they hung up the phone. And Mia said, I got to get to the bottom of this. I got to find out what's going on between Peter and Wendy, and what's going on between Peter and Wendy. And then it switched to the next scene. And and then the next scene was Karen and Wendy sitting down in the living room talking, and Karen asked Wendy. She said, Wendy, how you doing since everything going on? And she said, well, I'm doing okay. And she said, well, how do you feel? She said, well, I feel all right. I feel okay. She said, I'm just here. She said, I'm just here to have a good time. She said, I don't want to talk about nothing that happened at the burn session. I just want to have a good time. And it's your birthday, Karen. And Karen said, yeah, I just want to have a good time for my birthday too. She said, I hope all these other ladies are planning on having a good time because I want to have a good time for my birthday. Next thing you know, it switched to the next scene, and the next scene is where Robin and Gizelle was in their room. They were sharing a room together, and they were talking about what went on, kind of at the burn session, and how Candace was acting, and how Ashley was just trying to help Candace out and all that kind of stuff. And she was saying, yeah, the way Wendy was acting, Wendy didn't want to take accountability for anything that she did at the burn session, and that's why I kind of walked away. That's what Robin was saying. Next thing you know, there was a knock on the door, and it was Ashley, and Ashley came in and she asked them how they were doing. She said, how y'all doing? What's going on, Robin and Gizelle? She said, everything all right. How you doing? She said, I'm doing just fine. She said, how you feel about after all that stuff that Candace said about Michael? That's what Gizelle was saying. She was saying, well, yeah, I didn't like what Candace said about your Michael. I'm not. I didn't like what Candace said about Michael. And stuff like that, and she was saying, I don't believe none of that stuff. I don't believe none of that stuff going on with about Michael. And then Gizelle said, what's going on with you? What are you still going to buy that house? She said, well. Then they showed flashbacks of the realtor showing her the house, and she talking about it was a $2,000 house, and she talking about she liked the house at first, but after the realtor gave her the walkthrough, she decided not to buy the house. And so Robin said, Robin said, Robin said, what about dating? Are you dating? And she said, yeah, you dating. She said, no, I'm not dating, but I did meet a guy online, and we went out and we had dinner and stuff like that. So, oh, you had dinner? She said, yeah. She said, but Michael, and she said, well, how is Michael feeling? She said, well, Michael's acting so funny now. Ashley said, Michael acting so funny now. he bothered me, and he bothered me, and he complained about every little thing. And then they showed flashbacks of Ashley trying to put milk in the bottle, and then she talking about Michael talking about he don't know how to put milk in the bottle, and then talking about she ain't having enough food for the kids and all that stuff. She said just complaining, complaining. She said in her confession, she said Michael gotta figure it out like me. Michael gotta figure it out like me. And then the next thing you know, Robin said, "Well, Ashley, you know why Michael acting like that?" Because you're starting to date now, and you're dating other men and stuff like that. And since so she's getting ready to divorce Michael. Michael don't like that. He's closest coming to the divorce. And then Gizelle said, "Yeah, he probably watching your TikToks too, and that's probably why he doing that." And then Ashley said, "Oh well, but I don't know. He's just giving me a hard time now. He's giving me a hard time now." And then, oh, let me get some water right quick. Okay, I'm back. And the next scene is when Mia and Jackie are in the same room. They're sharing rooms. And so Mia asked Jackie, was she going into the shower? And Jackie said, yeah, she's going into the shower. She said, oh, okay. And then she said, oh, right before I go into the shower, Mia, do you have some deodorant? And Mia said, deodorant? She said, you didn't bring any deodorant, you didn't bring any, and you didn't bring any stuff. And she said, well, yeah, I just wanted to borrow your deodorant. You know, we borrowed deodorant before. And then in Mia, a confessional, Mia said, yeah, she didn't let Jackie, at times she didn't let Jackie use the hairbrush. She let Jackie use the hairbrush. She let Jackie use a toothpaste. She let Jackie use a deodorant. And she also let Jackie use her personal stuff. She said that's 5 things already. She said when it come down to the sixth thing, a person got to bring their own stuff. And then so she said I stop at 6. And then and then so after that she said just let me use the stuff. And they was calling each. She said just let me use the stuff. They were saying the B word to each other, B word to each other. And then Ashley said, y'all are really loud. Y'all are really loud. People can hear y'all. People can hear y'all. And then they kept on talking, and then Ashley closed the door, and then Gizelle said, "Yeah, Ashley, they are really really loud." And she said, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about." And Ashley went on in the shower, and Gizelle just laid on the bed and shook her head. And then the next scene is where I think the next scene was with Wendy and Karen, and they were talking about her birthday and how everything was going to go, and they were saying they hope the girls do everything. And then she was asking her, what are you going to wear? She said, well, I'll find something to wear, Karen. I'll get something to wear. Karen said, well, I already got my dress and stuff picked out to go for the party and stuff like that. And she said, yeah. Once you get ready, let me see how you look and stuff. And so after that, and so after that scene, all the girls were sitting in the living room section close to the dining room, and they were all coming out. They were all coming out with their outfits, and everybody said, "Well, how I look?" They said, "Well, you look good, Mia. You look good, Jackie. You look good." This, and then they were all sitting down talking, and they were all sitting down talking, and Mia said, well, I want all y'all girls to have a good time, have a good time. Let's have a drink. Let's have a drink. So Mia went to give the rest of the girls a drink. And then Ashley came out and she said, Ashley, Ashley, how do I look? Everybody said, oh, you look good, and stuff. And then Karen said, oh, Ashley, you decided to show a little, you decided to show some skin. And Ashley said, yeah, I decided to show a little skin. And then Clarice said, I like the dress, but it's kind of short. It's a little too short. It's short. And then so Mia came around the corner pouring the drinks, and she said something about, said a jokingly joke, something about, does a crab know how to go up a crack or something? And it was, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying that's exactly what she said. I kind of paraphrased it a little bit. And then Ashley said, huh? What? And what it was, Gizelle said it real low about how the dress is very short and it's rising up, and you could always, it's rising up almost up to the the certain part of your butt. And so when Gizelle said it real lowly, Ashley said, "Oh," and then when they got ready to go outside after they had the drink, Ashley pulled down the dress. Oh, it is short. So they showed the picture of the car conversation where Robin and Gizelle and Sharice was in one car. I think it was the black car, and then Robin and Mia and Jackie we're in another car. We're in another car, and Sharice said, Ashley, have you started dating now since you going on divorce? She said, she said, well, I found one guy. I went out with one guy. I found him on the internet. He slid into my DMs and we had dinner together. And she said, and Clarice said, oh, Gizelle, what about you? What about your dating situation? And Gizelle said, well, I do group dating. And then Sharice said, group dating. And then she said, yeah, I do group dating. And Sharice said, well, nah, I wouldn't do nothing like that. None of that group dating stuff for me. That ain't for me. And then it switched to the scene with Karen and them talking in their car. Mia told Karen, she said, Karen, I'm going to let you know originally I was on Clarice's side. I did like Clarice at first, and I was wondering why you had a problem with Clarice. She said up until she started acting all theatrical about the rooms. And when I told her some people might have to share some rooms, she talking about she got to have a room by herself. She got to have a bathroom by herself. She was all theatrical about it. And I said, I see why Karen had a problem with her. So they showed Wendy in the back, I guess texting her husband, whoever she was texting. They was all driving. And then it switched to the next scene. And the next scene was they were all at the restaurant, and the waiter came out and greeted them and stuff like that. He set them down at the table and asked them what did they want, for the appetizer. And I think some people ordered crab cakes and other kind of stuff. And then the next thing you know, Peter came over to the table while they were sitting down. He said, well, is everything going all right? Is the way they're treating you right, everything? And they said, yeah. So he hugged Gizelle first, and then he went over there to Sharice. Then he went over there to Ashley. Then he went around there to Robin, and then he went around there to Wendy. He hugged Wendy, and then he hugged Karen. And then he said, well, y'all have a good time, ladies. And then he walked on out. And then I think it was Ashley who said that. I think it was Ashley who said, wait a minute, I gotta go back. I gotta go back a little bit. What happened? They were Ashley and right before the party. Ashley and Gizelle and Mia was outside talking, and Mia was asking them how they were doing. And then Mia brought up that she had FaceTime Peter, and Peter told her that he had beef with Wendy. And then Ashley said, well, who is Peter? And she said, Peter, I knew Peter a couple of years back when I went to one of his events. Peter, Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband. And then Ashley said, oh, that Peter. And she said, yeah. And she said, what was the beef? And then Gizelle said, well, the rumor I heard that Wendy was supposed to be starting a restaurant business, and she wanted Peter's help. And what it was, Peter was supposed to help her get a restaurant business. And Mia said, do Wendy have that type of money to start a restaurant? Giselle said, well, I don't think so. And then they all bust out laughing. And then they went on. Now back to the restaurant scene. And so after that, after Peter greeted everybody and stuff, the next scene was Mia was at the table and everybody got to talking. And Mia said, I talked to Peter on the phone, and I was FaceTiming him, and I told him I invited all the girls, and he said, oh, you invited all the girls, including Wendy? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, you and Wendy don't get along. She said, well, I was going to put that aside for Karen's birthday. But then Peter is my family. He told me he have beef with you. Mia pointed her hand at Wendy, and she said, what do you mean Peter said he had beef with me, and then so she said he said something about a restaurant business. Y'all supposed to go to the restaurant business together, and you didn't reply back to his email or whatever. And so Wendy said, well, we don't do business like that. And then the producer said, well, did you return his phone calls and get back to him? And she said, well, Peter said she got in her phone, Wendy, and got a professional. Well, yeah, what I did, he just sent me a letter about coming to see a site, but he never gave me the directions or the address to the site and stuff. And then that's when Wendy said that she don't discuss her business like that. Her and her husband discuss the business together. Maybe she do something like that. And then Gizelle said upon her breath, it's just business, it's just business. And then they went back and forth, back and forth. And she said, well, Peter is my family. And I think she said, well, Mia, why you jumping in stuff that don't have nothing to involve you in? She said, but like I said, Peter is my family. And then Wendy said, maybe you might do business like that. Maybe G don't care what you do, but I don't do business like that. Me and my husband do business together. And then she said, well, don't be talking about my husband. She said, you act like you going with Peter or something. That's what Wendy said. And Wendy said, nah. And she said, what? Don't be saying stuff about my husband. Next thing you know, Wendy throws that drink in, not Wendy. Next thing you know, Mia throws that drink in Wendy's face, and Wendy jump up and said, what you gonna do? What you gonna do now? I can say, and then Wendy called her crater face, and then Karen was sitting there. They was all fighting and going on and stuff. And then when they both jumped up, the security guard came and he grabbed Mia. And then Mia said, she's not gonna be talking about my husband like that. And then the security guard took Mia out. And then Ashley said, well, I like Mia, but I don't like all this violent stuff. And then so after that, that's when they asked, and then that's when Ashley said, well, Mia is kind of hard to get along with. Then Jackie said, yeah. If I would have met Mia right now instead of meeting Mia as a teenager, I don't think me and Mia would be friends, because she is hard to get along with. And Jackie said, we are both strong-headed. We are both strong-headed, opinionated women, and sometimes we can bump heads like that. Next thing you know, Mia was calling G, talking about she was leaving, and then first it was Robin went out there and checked on her, and then Gizelle went out there and checked on her, and they was saying, yeah, how's Wendy? Karen asked, how's Wendy doing? And how's Mia doing? She said, well, Mia ain't doing all right. And then so Mia came back and said, oh, I'm gonna calm down. And then in her confession, she said, I don't like people taking me out of my comfort zone. Next thing you know, they was trying to fight again. And next thing you know, Wendy said she wasn't gonna be sitting there watching while people take up for Mia with the sympathy thing. And then Karen went out to the car and told Mia that she felt both of them was wrong. And then Mia gonna tell Karen that she didn't think that she was supportive of her enough, and the show ended. This was a jam-packed episode on 7. I wasn't trying to be this long, 18 minutes, but this was a good episode, and I agree with Karen. Mia was wrong and Wendy was wrong, and both of them have something to lose. Even though Jackie kept trying to tell Mia that, Mia didn't want to listen to Jackie. Mia's kind of hard-headed and controlling. But anyway, this was a good episode. This is A. Wilson. That ain't who tells it like a T.I. is. I am out.